Yo guys, we're going to be reacting to the Premier League season that was in the 2025-2026 season. The Arsenal were crowned champions. Unfortunately, just didn't want that to happen, but it happened. Congratulations to Arsenal Football Club. But has been a brutal season, entertainment-wise. And I think told on TikTok, Tobes, that is, said, we just got to enjoy rugby ball. We got to enjoy throw-ins, set pieces, none of that flair that teams like my team bring to the pitch, Manchester City. But like Ryan Cherky, for example, does, Bruno Fernandes, we got less of those players in the Premier League now, and kind of sucks to watch it, but we got to watch it because we love it. We love that sport so much, and we love our team so much that we enjoyed it. And I'm just going to be reacting to all 20 teams. I mean, I think with my predictions, I was way off. If you look at the first video that I did at the start of the season, I'm way off with my predictions. I got Spurs winning the league. Stupid of me, it's just maybe for clickbait. But, Spurs didn't win it. Spurs almost got relegated, mate. I think I got one relegation correctly. I think it was Wolves. West Ham almost got right on the dot. I thought, what I said with West Ham at the start of the season? I said West Ham are in danger, but they're gonna change the coach. They're gonna fight, and they might survive. Right, but the only problem was with that prediction, I didn't know that Spurs was going to be the team that they're going to be fighting with. And I think Spurs, their name just got them through it. I think the game against Everton at the end there, one goal. Like, have you understood how bad Spurs are? Like, Spurs are really bad at football right now. I really don't know what's going on with their team. Like, they're really bad. Like, they're really, really, really bad. But I think the game against Wolves kind of reiterated how bad they are. Right, quite to the end of the season, they struggled to beat Wolves. Like, every team has beaten, almost every team has beaten Wolves, but except Burnley. Burnley are struggling themselves. I saw one tweet that said they couldn't even beat each other, Burnley Wolves. But not to drive away from the topic, Spurs struggled to beat Wolves. They got a lucky goal of Jarpadine, just kind of scraped in. And I thought, really, Spurs, really, that's the kind of levels you guys are going through. Like, from the team back in 2015, Harry Kane, Christian Eriksen, all those stars that they had at the time, Heung-min Son, to what they have now, really just kind of aches to see them like that. But they survived through the skin of their teeth. Let's jump straight into it. Wolves get relegated. Wolves were really bad. Quite one of the worst starts I've seen to Premier League history. They didn't break the record of Southampton and all those JB counties back then, but they had a terrible season. If I was to give it anything, they almost stopped Arsenal for me. So I'm going to give them a 1 out of 10 this season. Poor season. Really poor season. And then heading into Burnley, same. I think they had a poor season. They never offered much. Never offered much entertainment value to the Premier League. I think they're going to become a yo-yo club for quite a while. I think until they change the mentality that they can stay in the Premier League. I think it just takes belief. Sunderland believed that they could stay in there, and they did. And now they're playing in Europe. I think Burnley just accepting that they're a yo-yo club, and I don't think that's good enough. Under Sean Dyche, it was quite a different Burnley. I think it was a grinding out Burnley. No naivety in that team. I think they were resolute defensively. 2 strong men up forward, and then we just storm the ball up forward, and Harvey Barnes would just score. Oh, Harvey Barnes, man. I forgot his name. The striker that did the eye celebration thingy. I forgot his name. Why did I have? I'm going to remember it. But yeah. Under Sean Dyche, they just had 4-4-2. I'm going to beat you 1-0. Goodmanson, all those. But now, the Burnley now, I don't know what's wrong with them. Bad signings as well. They don't make signings that kind of make a statement. I mean, they had James Ward-Prowse. They got Kyle Walker to the end of the season. What is he going to help you with at the end of his career as well? But yeah, terrible season. I think I'm going to give them a 0 out of 10 this season. I think poor. Just poor. And West Ham, unlucky. I think the game against Arsenal was very decisive. I think get that point there, you really put the cat amongst the pigeons. I think Tottenham get scared a bit throughout the season, and then you might rattle them and get a result. And then Tottenham, I really wanted Tottenham to get relegated, but they couldn't. And they survived, and they got relegated. West Ham. Jared Bowen said I think right after the game, club isn't where, like, they're not supposed to be there. That's a big club. Man, that whole London stadium in the Championship. I mean, playing Portsmouth away and Portsmouth at home in that big stadium. Pompey's would love that. Great away trip. But they'll play Millwall now. Heard it's one of the greatest rivalries. Can't wait to watch that game next season. But it's unfortunate for West Ham. I think if you look at them in Spurs, you would say Spurs are worse in terms of football playing abilities, I think. But West Ham, again, I think if Spurs were to go down, that would break the internet. Couldn't afford that. Really wanted it, but it didn't happen. And then I'll give them, I think, that not a terrible season. It's terrible because he went down, but not terrible per se. No, I'll give them a three or two out of 10. And then heading to Tottenham. So they're linked with Sevilla right now. I don't know how that will help them, but they need to make some huge signings. I think they're going down the wrong direction. That's back-to-back 17th place finishes in the Premier League, and I think I heard someone say they'll end up in the top 4 next season, top 6. Doubt it. Something really like a flick of a switch that easy in the Premier League is very hard to obtain. I mean, Man United did it, but they got carried at the end and started to play very great football. But in terms of Spurs, a flick of a switch, I think is going to be hard. They got 17th. I think that's as worse you can get for them. I think that's the best position they could have hoped for this season. Leeds were better than them. I mean, Leeds are better than them. So I'm going to give them 2.5 out of 10. Terrible season to be a fan of Spurs. Home games were, like, the home record last season was horrendous. Really horrendous. You know, and I think next season, that flick of a switch, is it going to happen? Is it really going to happen? I doubt it. I mean, you finished below Leeds. It's quite embarrassing, you know. 16th, Nottingham Forest. I think with Forest, they had to focus on Europe. I think they had a chance for silverware there. I think the final between them and Aston Villa, because Freiburg were never really questioning it in the final. I think the final was merely Villa and Forest, and they lost that semi-final. And then after that, they kind of focused on the Prem, trying to survive there, and they actually did that quite comfortably. What a squad they have. I mean, the only reason I say they're down there is because their European ambitions. That's just unfortunate. They got down to the semi-finals to Aston Villa, who ended up winning the trophy. So, with them, not a terrible season. Went semi-finals in Europe. Kept Gibbs White. I didn't think they kept Gibbs White at the start of the season, but they kept him. So, give them 5. Great season. The supporters will also say I think it was a great season. Just unfortunate they fell right at the end there in the Europa League. Next team, Palace, having just won the Europa Conference League. Now they're going to play in Europe as well. They're going to play in the Europa League. I think as well, European ambition. That's why they're in 15th, you know. I think they saw that might be the only chance for silverware, and they really took it with both arms, and they went all the way, and they beat Rafa, kind of 1-0, the Jean-Philippe Mateta goal. So having that silverware at the end, I'm going to give them 4.5, 5 out of 10. Not a bad season, not a great season, but the trophy might make it a 6 out of 10. You know, but I'm going to stick to the 5. Leeds, great. I think for them, they were one of my picks to go down, and they survived. So, and Anson Stack, Jonto didn't really start. Calvert-Lewin, what an end to the season he's had. All the way from the back to the to Noah Okafor, to Calvert-Lewin. It's a great season for them, I think. Ending up in 14th, not expected, but well done to Leeds. I think so now they can look forward. They should not go backwards. I think now start to be more ambitious. They had a great run in the FA Cup, losing to the semi-finals to Chelsea, the runners-up in the FA Cup. They had a great run. I think they had a great season. I think I'll give them a 6 out of 10. Heading to Everton, I had big ambitions for Everton, to be honest. I think I thought more top 10. They had the players to do so. They had, the stadium now, Hill Dickinson Stadium is quite great feature for them as well. They had the coach, David Moyes. And they had players. I'm really surprised when they're not in that top 10. I was quite tight between number 13th and probably 7th and 8th. Quite 4 points in it. But I expected more. I think the top 10 finish is what we all expected from them. That they quite failed at that. So I'll give them a 4 or 5 out of 10. Newcastle, Wow. They got out of Europe early, so you can't say it was European ambitions. Mm. Also going to the playoffs, so you couldn't say they had a great European season. They were really down and out. They were not in the relegation fight. They were just hanging around in the Premier League, you know. So, and they're also losing Gordon now to Barcelona for 80 million fee, I believe. Got a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. So I'm thinking them losing Gordon now. It's not looking great, but probably make signings. So I'll give them a 4. It's a poor season from Newcastle. They lost to their rivals twice in Sunderland. Twice. And they're playing in the Europa League. It's a great achievement for them. Twice in one season, 2 greatest rivals. We didn't lose twice to Man United. Give them a 4. It's a poor season. Very poor season. Fulham, well, it's Fulham standard, isn't it? 11th in the Prem. Harry Wilson had a great season. Not quite consistent as much as he should be. I'm very disappointed in that. He should be very, if he becomes very consistent in what he does, he could be really a great player for Fulham. Fulham should really have much ambitions. I'm not sure if Marco Silva is staying until next season. I think Ineos will float out as throughout the World Cup, but then not a great season, just a Fulham season at the end. I think half of the 10. And 10th place we have Chelsea, the grey blue side of London. Terrible season. They lost Maresca. Maresca, I think, left them when they were in the top 6 at the time. Maresca left because they were not giving him what he wants. He wanted to be able to make decisions about who he wants in the club, the players, that is. And they were not giving him that. And he kind of didn't like that. And parted ways with the Blue Coat group and just started spiraling down from there. Liam Rosenior came in. Oh my days. I know what Chelsea fans feel right now this season. They're not going to Europe. Oh, they got Xabi Alonso coming to coach their club. He's going to have them the whole week. They're going to play once a week, excluding FA Cups, Carabao Cups, and then no European football for Xabi Alonso. I think he'll start over again. It'll be a Bayer Leverkusen project again. I think he'll do well. I think he'll do well. So, but in terms of this season, poor, very poor. Players just didn't seem like they want to play for the club. Enzo Fernandez is apparently leaving. I think the interviews he made, it's going very bad. Malo Gusto, bad season. The defense, man, Buddy Shield, Cole was not bad. Chalobah. That's just it's horrendous from Chelsea this season. Forward, Garnacho, Liam Delap. Esteban nowhere to be seen. I mean, he dunked on Barcelona and then just disappeared for the rest of the season. Really disappointed in Esteban's season, but he'll bounce back. I think he'll be there next season. He'll be there in and about. João Pedro had a good season, but in terms of that, they need to make better signings. They need to release a lot more players. I think Chelsea fans will be very happy that this season has ended. They lost in the FA Cup finals. They lost to PSG by quite a huge score in the Champions League round of 16. But yeah, it's a learning curve. I think I remember saying Chelsea won to win the Champions League. They didn't, so happy for myself there. Brentford got 9th. They were playing rugby ball. They're just Michel Coyote throw it in. Igor Thiago will hit it in. Igor Thiago will get a penalty. Every 3 p.m. kickoff, I think Igor Thiago got a brace or a goal. Whether through the penalty spot or a goal, tap in or whatever, Igor Thiago was just running them in at 3 p.m. And he almost got close to not the Ballon d'Or. What am I saying? To the Golden Boot. But Haaland got it in the end. It's rugby ball. I think they adapted. They were one of my picks to go down this season after what I saw at the start of the season. They're not really good. The signings of Jordan Henderson and them, I thought was not good enough. But they proved me wrong. They almost got Europe. Otara missed a chance at Anfield to give them European football. But it's a season that was for them. I think a very good season. They were not expecting to be 9th. I'm giving them a 6.5, 7 out of 10. I don't rate Chelsea, but I'll give them Chelsea. They were poor, 4 out of 10. They were really poor. But Brentford, really good season. Missed out on Europe by goal difference. Goal difference is crazy, but almost got Europa League if Danglotaro was headed that ball in at a very emotional Anfield, but he couldn't. So they get 9th. Should be proud of that. Great season for Brentford. Brighton, Conference League. They only play the Conference League. I think they're the favourites to win the Conference League. Every English team has to be the favourites to win the Conference League because they have a bigger budget. The teams you face in the Conference League are shambles, mate. Like, they're really shambles. We know there's a close final between Crystal Palace and Rayo Vallecano today, but really shambles in terms of the level of opponents they face. They won that semi-final quite easily against Shakhtar Donetsk, you know. Once a Champions League team, but now they've dropped to the Conference League with the whole political things happening in their country. But they should be favourites. Brighton had a good season. Should have been in Europe, but got thrashed 3-0 by Bruno Fernandes's men. And great season. I mean, they should expect top 10, but European football, I think, will be an achievement for Brighton. So I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 season. Then we go to Sunderland. What a season. I mean, winning at Stamford Bridge with a Talby late winner, beating your rivals twice in the same season, having a very long undefeated run at home, holding Arsenal, holding Manchester City, holding Man United. Like, if you asked them last season if they would be in the Premier League and they would be fighting against all these big teams at the Stadium of Light, they would have said no. And they got European football, but quite a great season, man. Quite a great season for them, I think. Like Lebris will be very happy as the coach. Coach a bunch of players. Robbie was excellent. Enzo Lefebvre, Talby, all of them roofs and goal considered a very dodgy goal against Cole Palmer in the last day of the season. But they're not there. But quite a great season. Like, the whole squad. Issa Dior. Great season for them. I think Mukiele with the long throws, kind of mixing it up, you know, a bit of creativity, a bit of rugby ball, and they had a great season as well. I'll give them an 8. I'm not expecting that. 8 out of 10, Sunderland. Bournemouth, Andoni Iraola. What a season. I think quite consistently in the top 10, as high as second at the start of the season. Great signings, great business as well, letting go of Semenyo, but footballing wise were great. I mean, Evan Nelson, Krupi, very, very young, quite talented player. Krupi, the way he finishes is quite amazing. Ryan, Alex Scott in that midfield, Adams in that midfield, Sednesi in defence. It's just brilliant. Like, they play rock and roll football, and I think it's what we like to watch in the Premier League. Just Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp gave us rock and roll football, and they almost won the league quite a few times. So we like to watch, really. And they got rewarded with the Europa League, and I think that's quite great. They missed out on the Champions League because I think they would have gotten Champions League football if Villa finished 5th, but they beat Manchester City on the last day. So I'll give them another 8 out of 10. Great season. 5th, Liverpool, the defending champions. Well, the fans would have liked 5th. I'm not sure. Would you have liked 5th as a Liverpool fan? I doubt it. But you got 5th. Slot, don't have a good control of the juggernaut there, you know. Lost to PSG in the Champions League. PSG is very good side when it comes to the Champions League. They play very great football. Went nowhere in the cup competitions. And in the league, really never challenged for the league. Had a great start though. I think they got 5 in a row at the start of the season, beating Arsenal with a Szoboszlai free kick. But then after their first international break, things just went downhill. Lost to Galatasaray, lost to Crystal Palace. They just couldn't win a game, and then it just spiraled down from there on. People calling for Slot out, you know, calling for his head on the chopping block. Not quite sure what I think about that. I think I'd like for Slot to stay, you know. But jokes aside, I think it's been a great season for him. I mean, he won them the league, which is great, but I don't think the Liverpool fans are quite happy with that. I'll give them a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Typical Liverpool CD should finish in the top 5 with that squad. And he did. Aston Villa, European champions, top 4 finish. Great stuff from Unai Emery. Missed out on Champions League football last season, came back this season, went to Europe, conquered Europe, and stayed in the top 5. Amazing. Not quite a lot of teams do that. Most teams in the Premier League, when they go to Europe, quite fail. You know, Manchester United last season, Spurs last season, Spurs this season, Forest this season as well, you know, but they survived and they did very well in the Premier League as well. One moment to win the title race, but well, Arsenal kind of ran away with it, you know. So I'll give them 7 out of 10 season, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 with the trophy on top, so I'll give them an 8. Manchester United came in third. I'll clap hands for that, really, you know. And United, I quite expected them to be in the top 10. Didn't quite expect them to be in top 3. Under Ruben Amorim, I thought poor. The Glazers made a very quick decision to get him out and get Carrick in. And they just started playing great football from then onwards. I think Man United fans are enjoying watching the current United more than the previous United under Ruben Amorim. And it's quite lovely to watch Kobe Manu's back. You know, I don't know. I think quite linked to Elliot Anderson. Addison is also a great person in terms of them, according to Fabrizio Romano. But I think whoever partners Kobe Manu will have a great partner in Kobe Manu next season. I think they should be challenging for the league, the kind of player they have. And Carrick has been given a full-time manager role and should enjoy that as well. Should enjoy watching Man United. I enjoyed watching Man United to the end of the season. Not, you know, I'm not a United fan, but I enjoyed watching their football because we had to endure quite a lot of rugby ball this season. But yeah, Man United, top 3, Champions League next season, 8 out of 10 season. I mean, they turned it around from 4 out of 10 to 8 out of 10. So quite brilliant that. And then second was Manchester City. What to say about my club? Poor. I think we had a poor season. 2 trophies in the end. They have bigger standards for ourselves. Should have gone further in the Champions League, but I lost to Real Madrid. They always just find a way to beat us, man. I hate Madrid. I hate Madrid with a passion. You know, but they always find a way to beat us. Got some great signings in Antoine Semenyo, Ryan Cherki. But the main things of the season were Bernardo Silva and John Stones leaving. I think Nathan Mack is leaving as well. Pep Guardiola is leaving after 10 years. We're getting Enzo Maresca, I think. But the season was not great. You know, it was not great at all. I'm gonna give it a 6 or 7 out of 10. Finished in second. A good City side wins the league because Arsenal really are bottlers and they bottled that league, and I saw them bottle it. But we as well, we're not good enough. We're not good enough to win the league this season. I'm not sure if we're gonna be good enough next season. You know, but we'll see next season. Losing Pep, Enzo Maresca, rebuild, all those things. I think we're gonna lose a few players. I don't know who. Savinho's leaving, but I don't know who else is gonna leave him. So it was 7 out 6 out of 10 season. Man United had a better season than us, to be honest. And first, we got Arsenal winning the league. I don't think we're going to say that in the next 10 years, but Arsenal winning the league. Congratulations to Arsenal Football Club. Rugby ball. You know, rugby ball, it's not great to watch, but it worked, it was effective. And that's what won them the league. Getting corners after corner, Gabriel, Saliba, Jurriën Timber, Madueke, they were just scoring from corners and we couldn't handle them. And they kind of ran away with it. We kind of dragged them back, but we couldn't reel them in that perfect. One's top, you know, but not for quite a while. And also always found a way to win. Even the most controversial of circumstances, they found a way to win. And then the Champions League final. Hope they lose it. Ici c'est Paris. But should great season for Mikel Arteta as well. Congratulations. Almost ate my words there. Congratulations to Mikel Arteta. Great season. He built that Arsenal team from Kieran Tierney, from Rob Holding, from Thomas Partey to quite the squad he has now. Spent quite a lot to be there, to be honest, but they had to win the league sometime, and they did it in 2026. And the worst Premier League season in quite a while. But take nothing away from Arsenal. Deserved champions, and I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10 season in the European final. They lost in the Carabao Cup final. Top season from Mikel Arteta and his boys. As I said, I hope they lose the final, but it's just nothing against them really. Or it is all against them. It really is all against Arsenal. But yeah, great season from Mikel Arteta and the boys. I'll give them a 10 out of 10 season. That looks squad depth and everything. But yeah, and that's my time as well. What do you guys think about the 2025-2026 Premier League season? Were the signings great? Were the players great? Enjoyed quite a lot of rugby ball. Hope next season is better. Hope the signings are better. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. And thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, share it to all your friends. Thank you.